Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and I'm here with a long overdue video. I promised a long time ago that I would show you how I make my arty painted trims for the sides of my journaling, my art journal, all of that much. So we're going to do that today. A lot of this is just going to be simple techniques, but a lot of show and tell. Now, I have already prepped pages. There's 11 pages here of just painted papers that are not completely finished yet, but that's the whole joy of using them for what we're about to do. Now, this was videoed and there is a video on them, and the link is in the description box below this video. So if you want to watch that, I didn't want to spend all that time doing this in this video because this video is going to take a while as well. So these, when I've made them, normally live in, where's the boxer going? Normally live in this box, and this is also the box where a whole load of scraps go. So when I've got things that, like that's paper, anything that's paper I would use. Anything like this, which is cardstock, I wouldn't use for making the borders. Like that's soft enough, I could use that if I chose. So let's just have a quick whip through here. Now, a couple of things I would say, always be aware you need your arty trims to be as long as the largest size of paper you use. So if you're doing, like here in the UK, it would be about 11 and a quarter, I think it is. I get lost with those. In America, it would be 11 inches tall. Also, if you want to do both sides, top and bottom, I'm going to show you how to make pairs of trims. But if you're going to do all the way around something, you're probably going to need 4 or 5 trims to do a complete border on a double spread. Just things to bear in mind. Just want to make sure that you're all aware of that before we go any further. Right, I'm not sure how much is in here that is actually paper. That feels like paper. So that feels like paper. Sometimes I make these out of brayer-offs as well. When I'm gel printing, what's in here? This one feels like, oh, that's another paper one. Yeah, cardstock isn't advisable for this. That is the right height. It doesn't feel like the right height. Cardboard isn't advisable for this process because obviously you're sticking these trims onto the side of a page. If you stick them onto the side of the page, you're then doubling the thickness, sometimes more than doubling the thickness. So I'm not going to do all of these pages, but let's pull out, say, maybe 2 or 3 that I can do. Let's choose 1 or 2 that we made the other day, just so that we've got something carrying forward. Like I quite like that one. I like all of them, but I mean, I quite like that one for what I want. That's interesting, but not for anything I'm doing at the moment. Actually, this one is sort of calling to me. Not sure about that side of it. Should I do that? Yes, we'll do a piece of that. We'll do a piece of that. Now, if you do hear any banging in the background, by the way, my neighbour has decided the moment I turn the camera on to be doing some home improvements. So there's nothing I can do about that. Everyone has the right to do what they wish to do with their own homes. Right. No. Right, is there anything in here? That's quite a pretty one. Right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you step by step on my process. There's going to be some pretty big stop, start repetition stuff because the first thing I need to do is cut all of these into 2-inch strips. You do not need to sit there watching me cut into 2-inch strips, but I will cut, say, one of them up for you because there is something you need to know about that. So first things first, I'm going to cut them up, and only by cutting them up can I see the character of them. And then we're going to go into some art making. And yes, I pulled out some foam stamps. Because I've got them, I'm going to use them. You could do no foam stamping at all. You could stamp with just your regular stamps and inks. I like to stamp with acrylic paint with foam stamps. So you do you. Just go pull in my guillotine. Now, these need to be, for me, they need to be 2-inch wide strips. Now, you can do whatever you wish to do. Once you've learned the techniques on doing these, it's completely then up to you as to what you do in the future. You may decide you like your ones to be wider. You may decide you like them to be shallower. I'm trying to get rid of that little bit there. Why am I worrying about it? I shouldn't be worried about it. It's going to get more stuff on it anyway. So I know I will always get 4 strips out of my A4 size of paper here in the UK. I think A4 and American letter cover most sizes, and I would say I don't know of a paper standard that's less than 8 inches wide, so you will always get 4 2-inch strips. And as I said, this is the height of the paper here in the UK, which is A4, which then gives me the height of my journal page, unless I'm working on a taller journal. And then sometimes you have to add a piece, but then if you're actually doing all the way around, don't forget you've got that, and you can turn the corner at the top, so you're adding another 2 inches to the height, so that makes it 13 inches. Right, where's that piece gone? Now, this is the little bit that's left. I don't throw this out, because sometimes if I'm creating a border that's on this, I could then stick another piece of this down the side of it to give it a double colour. So these just go into my border box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut these all into 2-inch strips, and then I'll be right back, guys. So that's all I'm going to cut into 2-inch strips now. I'm only probably going to do 3 or 4 borders with you watching, but what we're going to do is towards the end of the video, I will show you my box of arty trims or painty trims, whatever you want to call them. And also what I've done is I've gone through and I've lined a few up and done 4 or 5 images, which I'll also tack into the end of this video, so you can take a screenshot just for inspiration, just so you can see some variations and shapes. But to be honest with you, the world is your oyster. You do as you wish to do. So as you can see, I now have strips. Now, I like to keep these strips hanging around. So we're going to choose, say, a few of them. Let's choose that one. I quite like the look of that one. I wanted green because I've got, actually let's pull all of the green ones out because I've got no green whatsoever. Don't want orange? Maybe not. Maybe that. No. I wanted to do one of these pink ones because that's not a colour I would normally have. That's an interesting one. I like to have these hanging around because as I'm working, creating other things, if I've been stamping a design and I've got spare paint or ink left over, if I pull in one of these, I could just stamp down them, and it's just one of those ways of cleaning up stuff. Let's put that one there and put that over there. 2 of those. I quite liked this one, didn't I? That was quite nice. Let's do that one. And I think we'll just leave it at that. So these will now go to one side. As I said, they'll just be over here. So when I'm actually decorating or making art, as I said, I will use them almost as clean up for stamping, but we have some to go with now. So my next stage now is I'm going to stamp these. It's up to you whether you use ink, whether you use acrylic paint, whatever you use. I tend to use acrylic paint because it's an art journal. It's got arty paint in it. So what I'm doing is I'm actually getting them so that I've got roughly the same colours together. Not that that's too important, but I just like to get myself organised a bit. Right. Put those there and that one there. Now, I'm just using a small gel plate. I think it's a 3x5, and I'm using Mars Black paint, although I have pulled, what's nasty, I always have those on my paints, although I have pulled out some Payne's Grey because I'm almost out of that Payne's Grey, and I thought, oh, that was a lot. There's not a problem ever using up spare stuff. So I'm going to brayer this out. Now, if you don't have a brayer and you don't have a gel plate, not a problem. Number one, you could be using inks. I'm using paints, but you could also put this onto a washable surface, smear it out with, say, a paintbrush or a credit card, and then use it for stamping. And so I'm going to come in. Now, these have got dots on them. So I'm going to come in. This is one of my foam stamps. It's called Sketchy Circles, I believe. And any stamps I'm using, I will put a link in the description box below, just so that it'll link through to all of my foam stamp designs at PM Arty Studio. It's up to you then. If you really want some of these, you can always pop over and get them, but no pressure selling from me. Right, so I'm just putting combinations of circles on here just to give interest. I don't mind if the backs get messy. There's no problem with that. The back's never going to be seen. So that's those. Let's pull these in. Now, the reason I group them together is, as I was saying, with this one, say, if I've got a bigger piece and I need to go around more of it, at least I've got most of it is covered. So let's see, what have I got now? Right, this is, I think it's frayed threads or something, or grid, or I am so bad at remembering what my products are called, guys. I'm surprised I wake up in the morning, to be honest with you. Right, there you go. That's those two done. And what I'm thinking is, if there's dots on there, I don't want to put more dots on there. If there's circles on there, I don't want to put circles on there. Do you see where I'm coming from? Right, where's that blue one gone? I wanted black on this one. Right, I mean, I wanted a grid on this one. So I'm just going to come down and almost do the whole thing. Well, not almost, I am going to do the whole thing in grid. Right, that can go to one side. As soon as I've finished using these foam stamps, I will put them in. I've got a cat litter tray with water in it so that they soak. I don't want them sealed by dry paint when I've finished. But as you can see, they're already taking on a life of their own. Right, these were the ones I did with spirals, so I'm going to come in with more spirals, but this time they're smaller spirals. There you go. Spirals. Right, what have I got left here? Right, I've got leaves. Let's use this. This is a new one. I think I launched that this month or last month. I think this month. It's something diamonds. Right, remember, you have to trust the process, guys. Right, we're on to our last two. This cleanup mat, by the way, is a cookie sheet. Although, if you are going to use cookie sheets, just be aware, cookie sheets, you get them in the baking aisle. They're reusable, but some of them are slightly porous. Some of them are really thin. This is really thick, and I've never found this type again, which is a pity because I'd like to buy some more of these, but I haven't got them. So yeah, just be aware, it's a cheap alternative to using like a Tim Holtz or an Art mat, which can really run some figures high. However, they're not as robust as the Arty ones are. Right, so these all now need to dry. I can pick it up. There you go. Now this is a prime example. I've still got stuff there. I've got my stamps out. I could come through and stamp some of these. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, finish this bit off and clean up everything, and then I'll be back. So they're all done and dry. Now the next thing I do is I go through them and look at them, because you saw the speed at which I was stamping them. Even if I was taking my time, sometimes some don't stamp, or they smear, or they smudge. At this point, I want to eliminate them. That doesn't mean they're gone. It just means they go into my collage drawer, because there's always bits on them that can be used. So that bit's okay. See, oh, here's a prime example. This may be smeared, but you know what? That bit there can go into my collage drawer. So just remember, guys, you've still got something here you can use. Like this is a bit smudged at the top. not sure that's that much important. That, I don't like that, and this has got a bit heavy. That's okay. Those little ones there are not going to bother me. They'll be lost in the mix eventually anyway. That's okay. See here, right in the middle, that's smudged. That's fine, that can go. That was smudged as well. And a lot of it was because I was working really quickly. That's okay. That's okay. This is smudged a bit down here. It was smudged in exactly the same place. Right, okay, those two can go there. That one's a bit smudged. That one's okay. And that was okay. Have I got enough? Yes, I do have enough. Let's put those into the collage drawer. So now I have these left. I'm just going to select, as I said, just a few to work on. So quite like the idea of working on that one. I won't do two of the same. I'll do two different ones. That can be worked on. Have I got more than one of those? Right, those are different, aren't they? Okay, those are different. I don't want to do all greens. Let's take that out of the mix. So I'm just trying to eliminate, because I know how much time I've got and I don't have a lot of time, so let's take that out. Decisions, Griffiths, get on with it. Let's take that one out as well. Right, we'll work on, I want this one instead. I've decided I want that one. Right, so these will now go into my box with all of the others, e.g. this box, which we'll look through afterwards, but these will go to one side of it because they're ones that can be cut into and finished off at some other point. You will see all of this. Let's not worry about that. Now, this, remember, is just the way I do it. I'm sure there's other ways of doing this. Who did I first see? I was inspired by Diane Reevely. Diane Reevely doesn't do her Arty borders separately. She does them directly into her journal. Although it gave me the inspiration to make them separately so I could add them. So these are 2 inches wide. I normally turn them over, or I would recommend turning them over, just so you've got something that you can do marks on. So this is a 1 inch wide quilting ruler. So I know just by drawing a line down the middle, I have a halfway point. Now it's important to know where the halfway point is, because you may want to put more than one border onto your page, and you need to know that they're going to be roughly the same size. Now, just through experience, I know if I cut it any less than about ½ an inch, I end up with a bit of a problem. So I'm going to come in. Is it ½ an inch or is quarter? Sorry, it's 1/4 inch. I thought that didn't sound right. So I'm going to draw a line again at a 1/4 inch mark. Now, basically, the 1/4 inch mark, the 1/4 inch mark is actually, basically don't cut past the 1/4 inch, because you need stability, because whether you're using a glue stick or medium or art glitter glue, however you're sticking these down, even tape, you're going to be handling them. They could get damaged if you actually cut them less than that. Now, don't forget, we have all the way for the design to go from the outside edge to the inside here, so they're going to be wider. Another reason I like to put this line down the side is if I find that my border is too wide, I can always come in and trim that 1/4 off and use it for something else. Right, now comes the fun bit. That doesn't look right. Well, I had a magic moment. I've got a bit squiffy with my pencil. Okay, so now comes the fun bit. You decide what shape you want your border to be. So for this first one, I'm going to start in the middle. I'm just going to draw myself a wiggly line. the next one, should I do this? How am I going to do this? Right, okay. So, sorry, just thinking because I like to mix them up a bit. So this is just over 11.5. If I do 1.25 inches, I'm just going to put 1.25 inch marks down this time. Just measure that right, I did. 1.25 inch, 1.25 inch, all the way to the end. Not an exact science, this one. I mean, if you really want to know the equal divisions of your strip of paper, grab a calculator and divide the inches or the centimeters by the number of divisions you want. Well, it's not bad. I've only got that little bit left there, that's fine. Now, I put those on there for a simple reason that I'm now going to get something circular. So I've just got a simple school protractor here. Well, that's what I know it as. I don't know whether that's what you know it as. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw a scallop edge all the way down. If I'm doing a scallop edge, I try to make them not too dramatic, as in too deep, because the problem is you have to cut them out. That doesn't look like 1.25 inch. Where have I gone wrong with this? It's 1.25 inch. That's what happens when you're videoing, guys. You talk and you don't always concentrate. 1.25 inch. Now, remember I said I would do 2 sets of each border? I'm going to show you 2 different versions on this strip. So if you want 2 with the scallops in, you can do it the way I'm doing it now. If you want 2 with the scallops out, you would do the other side. It'll all make sense when I cut them, I promise you. I might be lucky, this might have been the right measurement. It would have been far better if I'd have cut it right first time. It's not cut it, I mean marked it right the first time. And 1.25 inch. That's neither here nor there, that's fine. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, leave that little bit spare. Okay, I'm going to cut it straight there because you never know, I may need to overlap some. So this is going to be one border, this is going to be another border. And this one, let's just see. Now, you could come in, you could mark down here, down there, and do a zigzag so they're equally cut. I'm just going to freehand a zigzag border. Okay, oh, I don't like how sharp that is there. There you go. Now, let's see. Am I going to do big scissors or small? I sometimes get flummoxed as to which scissors is quickest. So I'm just going to grab a Tim Holtz. I'm literally going to come in. Now, if you are someone who has a cutting machine, which I do not have a cutting machine, you could create templates, SVG cutting files for your borders. And then all you need to do is actually just get your whole A4 or letter size bit of paper, put it in and have it cut your trims for you, which means you wouldn't have to do it manually. I know a lot of you out there do have those cutting machines. I had one years ago and I had so much problems with it. I just gave up and I never want to own another one again. It was a Silhouette Cameo or Cameo Silhouette. It was a flipping nightmare. Right, so that's one border. That's another border. Now, this is a perfect example. If I felt that was too wide for my entire thing, I could come in and trim this off, and then that would make it narrower. So it just gives me options. Right, this one's going to be a little trickier because I'm going to have to be a bit more precise with this one. Now, I used a protractor. You could use the inside of a washi tape roll. You could use the lid off a jam jar. You could do anything like that that will give you a substantial curve is fine. Now this is the one, remember, I'm making two borders out of one. So this one is a really shallow scallop, and this one is the reverse of a scallop. It goes this way. Okay, so if I wanted to make two of those, I would have drawn the line in the other direction as well. Let's go from the other end this time. As I said, when we get to the end of the video, or close to, I will put up some images so you can actually see variations on the theme. I also don't get hung up with things being 100% symmetrical. If the colours and the paper pattern and the designs are roughly similar, then the eye will fill in all the gaps as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, I hate watching people fussy cut on screen, but this is seriously part of the process that needs to be gone through. Another thing you could do is you could create yourself some cardboard templates, so that, or even some thick plastic templates. So what you would do is you would do all your measuring of and designing of this edge, cut yourself one template, and then you can always lay it down and draw around it before you do it. So therefore, I've now got the start of my stuff done. Now, this is as far as you need to take it, unless you want to go one step further. This on the edge of a page, I've got something. Let me just see if I've got something that's got something in here that I can show you on. Try to find something that's, okay, here's a background. Okay, so this is a background in my art journal. This is as far as I've got with it. However, once it's finished, I could come in and I could stick that down the edges and it would frame out my piece. It really changes depending on the colour. So if I came down with this one, because this is complementary to purple, I mean, I could come down and do really dynamic with this one either side, and it makes them a feature. Now we're going to enhance these further, but just know that that's what the positioning is for. And remember, I said you need to encounter this. See, even with one piece, it's not going to go all the way. So I would say, if you're going to do all of it, you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 pieces to be able to get the whole of the edge done. And when it comes to the edges, I'd probably just miter them by cutting them and then trim your design to fit. Like that needs to go. Wait. So now the fun starts. Now I normally have a piece of paper or a bit of waste card, but I couldn't find any, so we're going to go with this. I'm going to use a Posca pen. It depends on you as to what you want to use to draw the black line on. I would suggest, though, if you're going to do this, make sure you have something that's permanent when it's dry. I mean, I know if I put matte medium over these, they probably move, but just know that have something. I lay it down on the paper and I literally run my pen along the edge. Now I could have drawn my design in the first place in black directly onto the front of this, but you've got to be pretty reliant on what you're doing. See, so I've got a bit of an edge there. I can come back and thicken it up if I choose to. There's no reason why you can't do it from the other direction as well. I just find I'm not very good doing it this direction. I tend to miss the edge of the page. See what I mean? I would much rather come down here. The only reason I've got this paper here is basically to protect whatever work surface I'm on. Oops, totally missed that one. So that's the first bit done. I need to do that with all of them. Now, as I said, please just trust yourself, have fun with this. I really do enjoy doing these, but normally they're one of the more meditative things I do. I sit down and I just doodle and I play and I mark. I don't normally have a camera on me while I'm doing this, so I'm hurrying, to be honest with you. I know you all said you don't mind how long it takes to do a video, you'd watch it anyway. But for me, it's more about the upload time that it takes to put a video up. I like to put a black line around things because I'm one of these people who likes to put a black line around things. You could put a complementary color. You could have done, say, orange on this one instead of black. You could have put a darker green. You could have done white. It's whatever you wish it to be, guys. Your designs, your way. I think what I'm trying to get across is just be playful with these. Also, if you're going to be doing them on the edge of an art journal page, maybe just, wow, that pen just flooded. Let's see if I've got some of this. Be mindful of the colors you're using and maybe create a background that actually works on, create a strip that works for specifically for that. My pen just had a major moment on me. Right, let's take that out of the way because it's dirty. Now, I do also go down the outside edge, but this is a lot easier because I can just put, guys, one of those days. Let's just put the ruler down the edge of here. And just do a stripe. When you, what is wrong with this pen? Sorry guys, I'm having major marker problems here. Right, this can go to one side. Right, you are really annoying me now. I don't normally have a problem with Poscas. I have no idea what's going on today. It's not Friday the 13th or anything ridiculous like that, is it? I have been using this Posca pen a lot though, so maybe it's just being overly juicy. I'm moving them over there so that we can look at them afterwards. The other thing I would say is be really cautious when you're using a ruler with markers, because sometimes it bleeds under the ruler, so I will lift the ruler up. Don't smear it, because sometimes it'll catch the edge of the ink and smear that. Mind you, this Posca pen's doing enough damage as it is. I also, after working with the ruler, I always wipe the edge of the ruler. I'll just show you what I mean. So let's look. So this is a relatively clean piece, but if I run that down my ruler, you can see I picked up all of that. I don't want that transferring onto another something or other I'm working on in the future. Demonstrating how to do these is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Get off, get off, get off. Right, that's pretty much been done with the ruler. Let's get some alcohol ink on that afterwards. Right, let's get rid of this paper before it gets all over the place. So this is where we're up to now. Posca pens do dry quickly. Okay, so I would say be a little cautious, but there's no need to be hugely cautious in doing it. Ignore this one with the thumbprint. We're going to do something about that in a moment. So when I've got to this point, this is where the fun begins. I'm going to change to another Posca pen for this one. I can come in, and this is where anyone who does doodling or Zentangling or anything like this, just have fun. Can you see? You can. So here I'm just going to freehand a scallop line in there. Put a dot above it. I could come in with another marker and colour that in there. This one, because I've got spare spaces in it, I've got dots in them, maybe I'll draw around the dots just to accentuate the dots. And I have learnt to release my perfectionism. So if they're a bit raggedy, I will accept they're a bit raggedy. I guarantee none of the work in my art journal is absolutely perfect. Right, because this one is the same as that one, I need to follow the theme. Right. Now this is the one that's got the really shallow, come here, got the really shallow scallops. So I'm going to accentuate the scallops by putting an inverted V into them. And then maybe from here I'll draw a teardrop. This is also time to pull out your stencils, because you've got stencils and you want all of these shapes to be uniform, you can always come in and just draw through part of the apertures on the stencils. Now, when it comes to something darker like this, I mean, to be honest, I probably wouldn't do anything with those, but I'm going to, because I've got a white marker with me. I'm going to come down and I'm going to, if this marker wants to play fair, I'm going to do a little stitched line. And because I want a pair, I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So, right, so that's just really the basics. Those two I would consider as finished. These here, I could come in with more, and maybe I could put a dot into the part of the teardrop there. See, you just build it up, guys. You just absolutely build up what you want as part of this. I could also come in, let's see if I can reach over. Let's get, right, there's another colour Posca. I've already got my circles there, so I could colour in my circles. So if I've got one that's got a fingerprint on it or something, because I'm using a Posca or a paint pen, they're normally opaque, so it would actually go over the top of whatever's underneath it. Am I shot? I feel like I'm not. I am. And if you're really worried about your outside lines, you can always go in and put your outside lines in afterwards. See, so that's kind of the process. As I said, it was a bit of a rushed version, but that's because I want to show you what I've normally done with them. So let's put those to one side. So this is my trims box. Now this lot of trims is basically just bits of tissue, cardstock, craft papers, whatever. There's a bit of Tim Holtz, and it's basically just mounted onto double-sided tape. And even like there's even painty strips in here. And sometimes I'll just use these as accent pieces for maybe working in my art journal, or maybe in my personal journal or my planner. Say I've made a mistake in there, or I'm going to get rid of something, I can just take a piece of this, snip it off, stick it over the top. Maybe I had a dental appointment in my planner and all of a sudden it's been cancelled and moved to another day. I don't want to be scrubbing stuff out. I just stick stuff over the top of it. It's easy enough done. And little things like, oh, there's a piece that's just a bit of music paper. That can just be stuck to something. But this is what you're looking for. So all of these that are finished, I have photographed for you. So you will see them in a moment or two. But just so you've got an idea. So there's the scalloped one with the bigger scallop. And I cut the extra 1/4 inch off. This is one I measured up and just drew boxes. See, the strips are in here as well. So say I wanted that, but I wanted to add a bit of different colour. I could come in, and once it's in place, I could stick that strip down the edge of it, and that gives me a two-tone look. Again, just another scallop. These are just absolutely, there you go. There's that shallow one that I did, but with a different pattern. I literally, oh, there's a more measured zigzag. Sometimes it's just a straight line, and I draw the pattern onto it. There's another. Come on, off you come. There's like a Greek key that was not finished yet. But as you can see, I just make them up as I go along. This was me just freehanding a shape. This one was just a strip, literally a strip with some circles in it. Again, this was a foam stamp, just a key design. This is more of that freehand zigzag. There you go, there's one strip and I've just drawn lines in it because sometimes that's all I need. This is a plain strip, it's just got a pattern drawn onto it. Same there. So as you can see, guys, it's a great way of building up something. Like, take some time, have some fun. I mean, that's cute. And there you go, I don't normally do hearts, but I drew little hearts into some dots. I particularly like this sort of one that's quite thin, but there's a time and a place for a larger one like that as well. Now, as I've got something like this, I can always come in and do more to it. A lot of the time I will leave them undecorated because, as I said, I don't know what they're going to go next to, so I don't know how I want to finish them off. Maybe I want to put a complementary colour. There you go, there's a narrow one, so I can almost guarantee. See, that's an inch there. So what I've done is I've made this one an inch and I've cut the edge off. Well, don't know what I was doing when I did that one. Bit of a Mystic Med one. So, and again, really simple, but it looks great on a journal. Just ideas, guys. Just ideas. Play with it. Now you know what I do. Like, literally, it's pen work. Like, okay, that was a stencil. And I just laid the stencil in and I just drew around the inside of the stencil, took the stencil away and then coloured the flowers in. I did it again there, but that's really cute. Simple, that was just a bit of mesh work pressed into the top of it. Just have fun. That's all I do with these is I just have fun. So I'm going to stop gossiping for a second. Now I'm going to put the pictures up on the screen. As you know, I do not do music, so you won't have gone deaf. It's just, oh, like that one. I've got a piece that might work on. I've forgotten to look in here. It's going to go quiet, and I'm going to put the screenshots in, the images in of all of the designs in here, just purely for you to have the inspiration, guys. It'll give you some idea what shapes you can do on the edge and how you can decorate them. But once you get started, I can assure you, you are going to fly with these. You will take off and do your own. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.